going to start off taking attendance. Melanie Anderson.
Present.
Tommy Clay. Out. Ms. John Kreisman.
Here.
Jeff Fadley. Out. Harry Mollenhauer. Here. Carl Leonard. Out. Myself, Steve Nelson. Present. At this time, I'd ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item agenda number 2, the minutes of our last meeting, which was held on October the 14th, 2019. Are there any corrections? Any discussions about the last minute meeting? If not, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the October 14th, 2019 meeting.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And we are all three voting, right?
Three votes.
Yes. Item agenda number 3, employee recognition. Is Tina Carver here?
Neither one of them will be here, sir.
Okay. Just for the record, Tina Carver has been with the OUA for 5 years. Jamie Gamatina, 25 years. At the appropriate time, I will present them with their certificates of recognition. Moving on to item agenda number 4, which is our consent agenda.
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written.
I have a motion to accept.
I need some clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 10, we have 2020 OUA holidays. The list has a Saturday and Sunday in it. So to me, they are just holidays and not the ones that the OUA is expected to take. Am I right or wrong?
The reason why they're listed is the answer is as political as it can get. It's yes and no. And here, let me explain why. For the way we treat the holidays, if you are regularly scheduled to work, then you receive holiday pay. And the reason why Saturday and Sunday, we have treatment plants that are still open 7 days a week.
Right.
So those folks would receive holiday pay. If you were regularly scheduled to be off, let's say you were a Monday through Thursday employee, if the holiday falls on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, then you get no recognition of that holiday.
Okay.
So that's why I'm sorry, I'm answering it yes and no.
Well,
If it is your normal work day, yes, you get holiday pay. If you are scheduled off for that day, you do not get holiday pay.
okay. I'm satisfied.
Okay.
I second the motion.
I have a second on the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item agenda number 12, Southeast 8th Avenue water main replacement. Thank God.
Let's see. Okay. What you have here is being brought back to the board. The low bidder, which was Go Underground Utilities, has submitted the necessary paperwork that was required after notice of the award. So they provided the signed agreement. They've provided some other information. What we now need to do is to looking at this bid and what was accepted as alternate bid A, making the contracted amount $598,400, is to whether or not the OUA wishes to issue a notice to proceed. After the notice to proceed, there will be still some other paperwork that needs to be done, pre-construction video, pre-construction conference, insurance, documentation, things of that nature. But the reason for issuing the notice to proceed, the time clock on the contract has begun. So they need to start doing shop drawing submittals maintenance of traffic. They've got to get started with the work, which I have provided to you in your board package, that the substantial completion date would be on May 10th of next year, final completion June 9th.
The starting point would be where on Southeast 8th Avenue?
That will be up to the contractor to determine. There are essentially the two areas with which to work. Up on the north end of Southeast 8th Avenue, I think it's Southeast 3rd Court is one area, and then off, there's actually three areas. The second area would be in the south end of Southeast 8th Avenue, going down to, was it Lucy Island?
Right.
And then the other portion is on, I think, Southeast 8th Drive. It would be up to the contractor to determine where they wanted to start work.
But is it going to be all the way down Southeast 8th Avenue from the beginning as you turn in?
No, sir, you don't have it in your map, a map in your book. The only part of Southeast 8th Avenue would be, is it just south of where Southeast 8th Drive cuts off?
Right.
Or where the pump station is?
Yes.
So it's the south end of Southeast 8th Avenue. At the curve.
Okay.
Where it makes the bend to go down to Lucy
Towards
Island.
my house.
We're going to skip that area.
Right, okay.
The person's very hard to deal with.
Well, okay. Now, another question, because a lot of neighbors have been coming. The pipes are going to remain in the same area?
Same general location, yes, sir.
Okay.
And of course, this project, we elected to take out the old piping when the new piping has been in and certified and placed into service.
Okay.
So they actually get construction twice in our neighborhood. So there will, that final restoration won't happen until we pull the old pipe out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the recommendation certainly from staff is to issue the notice to proceed and authorize the chairman or staff to be able to execute the necessary documents to move forward with this project.
And I'd like to make a motion that we execute the agreement and notice to proceed for Southeast 8th Avenue Water Main Replacement Project with the OUA Chair and staff to execute the agreement?
Chairman, you're asking, isn't it set up for the chair to sign?
Yes, it is.
Then the chairman
And I
to-
believe, I think I have to witness it, or, there's witnesses to it.
Okay, then remove the staff part of the chairman to execute.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item agenda number 13, State Contract LPQ 0008, Southwest Wastewater Service Area Project 1.
Again, Mr. Chairman and board members, this is a recap of the Southwest Wastewater Service Area project where we broke it into multiple phases, essentially naming Project 1, if you will, the pump station and force main to go from the project area up to NW15. It would also include the SE2 force main interconnect. And those monies allocated for those projects will take up this $6 million grant that the state has provided to the OUA. Following this grant would be this next phase of the project, which will actually be the collection systems and vacuum, if vacuum system is the chosen method for disposal, that would come in Project 2, which would most likely right now be funded through USDA. But that would be project number 2. That project is under the preliminary engineering report, should be finished shortly. And once that's done, we would be bringing back the loan documents from the USDA for the board to review, sign, authorize, and we would be submitting that. And again, that would be for project number 2. So today, it's really essentially reviewing this standard grant agreement that you can find in your board package. There would be some minor modifications to it for date. We may have to add one element that is not in this agreement. It would be, goodness, I don't see it in here. There would be a grant needed for land purchases. It appears that we're working towards an agreement with a landowner off of Old Dixie where we might be able to acquire the acreage needed for the regional pump station and vacuum or the collection facility. If there is going to be land purchase, easement purchases, this grant would have to have just one appendix added to it for the state requirements, but it's a very minor deal. It will not change the project timing or the dollar amount of $6 million. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board at this time?
As noted, when we move forward with this, we will have to modify the engineering scope of work and fee schedule to reflect the sources of the money and the work to be done. If you remember, we already have the one appropriation in the amount of $523,000 that we're working under. We have this grant agreement, and then we will have the USDA loan. But we'll have to modify the engineering scope of work and fee schedule, construction services, to mimic those three work elements.
But that shouldn't have anything to do with the approval of this contract or this
No, sir,
grant.
that was just background information that we will have to bring that back probably, hopefully, by the next board meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, do I have a motion to accept this agreement?
We don't need to, do we?
Essentially, the correct, might be the authorization to execute said agreement by the chairman and OUA staff.
That would be the form of the motion. Approve the state contract and authorize its execution by the chairman.
That's it. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Kreisman. I have a second by Ms. Ann Killany. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item agenda number 14, the Pine Ridge Park sale.
Mr. Chairman and board members, a number of months ago, the board authorized the sale of this what formerly was the Pine Ridge Park Water Treatment Plant property, of which we don't need anymore since we have extended water mains from the OUA system to this area. We have demoed the plant, cleaned up the property, and due to the size of the property, it was determined that we could do a direct solicitation of those properties abutting this property. There are two of them. So I sent out a bid request to the two property owners, one to the east, if you will, one to the south, and we received those sealed bids back last week. The one property that is suggested in here is the apparent high bidder. Mr. Conley has prepared a bill of sale, if you will, for this property, and we would just like, if it's still the board's consideration, to accept the bid from Garcia Martinez and authorize staff to execute that bill of sale documents to transfer the surplus property from them to the Garcia Martinez. Mr. Conley has a comment.
Could I offer one amendment or one change to it, because the buyer's not signed this, the buyer's not signed this agreement yet, right?
That is correct.
I put a proposed closing date of December the 6th in, and I think that's a little bit close considering the Thanksgiving holidays coming up. My recommendation would be to move that to on or before December the 20th. just a minor change. I think that'll be easier on everybody if we made that. And I have a substitute page, John, for that. It's page 3 of the contract. The only change is to change the closing date on or before, to make it on or before December the 20th, instead of previously it was December the 6th.
And that would be the property to be sold as is. That is correct?
Yes. And we're paying the cost, which would be normal as far as the seller's concerned.
Yeah, I'd make a motion, we accept the bid from Maximino Garcia, the amount of $6,500, and
Approve the contract.
and approve the contract with the changes that our attorney has suggested.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
I have a second by Ms. Melanie Anderson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item agenda number 15, public comments. Please step up to the podium.
There being no members of the public present,
Items from our attorney.
I don't have anything to contribute to the meeting today.
Okay. Let's see, we'll skip 17, go to 8. No, I'm sorry. Items from the executive director.
Okay, just a couple minor ones. You have in there the notice of the Southwest Wastewater Area Pump Station. Again, we have been meeting with several different property owners trying to identify property for that pump station. We believe we have a possibility of a sale, and so we will certainly continue to investigate that opportunity for the acreage for the pump station. And the US 441 Southeast Roundabout, again, we're finalizing our DEP and DOT permitting for that. We would expect that OUA would start the work on that project in the middle part, early to middle part of December, to get the 2 road crossings done, and then we will finalize the rest of it as the schedule permits. Finishing this work before they actually let the contract. I think it's in August of 2020 to start the work for the contractor. The other 2 things I would like to point out, we would like to try to schedule a OUA Christmas party that is normally held at the OUA maintenance facility on State Road 78 West. The date for that party has been proposed for December 12th. As always, OUA board members, spouses, other selected folks are always invited to attend that meeting.
Crazy. It's now uploading stuff.
For December 12th. Along with that, in the 2020 budget, there was an allocation set aside for employee bonuses. Typically, the board has authorized that bonus to be given out at the Christmas party, and I would like to get, if the board is so inclined, to go ahead and approve those bonuses.
Yes, I think that is most definite, in my opinion. If the board would go along with me with
Yes.
respect that we disperse and show our appreciation at the December 12th luncheon. I also would like as many board members to please come out. I've gone out for many years there. It's a way to talk to some of the employees that we don't see during the year, to thank them for the work that they're doing. And as I've mentioned several times previously in other meetings, as an owner of a retail establishment, you really don't appreciate the staff that you have until you talk to some people like myself with what's going on in the job market. So most definitely like to see the bonus given out at the Christmas luncheon.
That's the board's consensus?
No,
Okay.
I'm just the calendar's rolling around in my head. Looks like you two are going to be in Tallahassee because you said December 12th, so I'll eat your food for you and give the bonuses out.
Au contraire. I have an update on that. But that would be fine, and I would also suggest to you, it is a two-way street. While it is important for board members to be able to see the OUA staff that really do much of the work and the meetings, it is also a time for those staff members to meet and talk with you, so you can really connect both ways, that it's both, you know, it is a two-way street. They get to see you, talk to you, thank you for your, you know, the guidance and things that you do for OUA employees, as well as for OUA board members, to see those employees and associate names and faces with paperwork, if you will. All right, so we'll move forward with December 12th.
You need a motion on that we move forward with the bonuses and distribute them at the picnic?
You did it in the OUA budget, but I'll leave that to Mr.
It'd be
Crum.
nice, it'd be documented by doing that.
Make
Official
a
action.
motion that we move forward with the employee bonuses and distribute the checks at the Christmas party.
I have a motion by Mr. Creasman and a second by Ms. Anderson.
Second, yes, please.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And on a corrected note, it's December 10th that Mr. Creasman will be going to Tallahassee for OUA County
As long
recognition.
as I'm back for the barbecue.
No, in all seriousness, it is December 10th, Mr. Chairman and board members. It is an important day for the county, county legislative day up there. It is clear that the OUA would and should be there to support the county and the city, all the agencies, with meeting with our local delegation members in Tallahassee. So I guess if we could have some assurance that who is to be up there to represent the OUA?
We'll have representation, either myself or Mr. Creasman. One or the other.
You and Mr. Creasman will be up there?
One or the other.
Somebody's putting a lot of words in Mr. Creasman's mouth here today.
Last week, when the governor was, you didn't go to Indiantown last week, did you?
No, sir.
Okay.
So I'll let the county know that either Steve Nelson or John Creasman would be there to represent the OUA in Tallahassee.
Yes. You're driving, right?
I believe that was Mr. Nelson and Mr. Creasman.
Okay.
I mean, I could be there, but I mean, it's,
Well, it should be.
The Ritz-Carlton, whatever you guys want to cut the check for.
okay. That's all I have, sir.
I have a question, Mr. Hayford, and it's clarification mainly on the roundabout issue. Did I understand you to say that we would be able to get in there and do our work prior to construction, or are we going to work in conjunction with construction?
I'll use the same answer I used before, yes and no. The yes part is we will go in and do what we can do to put in new piping ahead of the contractor doing the work. By the time we get our new piping in, and it's going to be a step process, there's some of it we can do right now, like the road cuts, but some of our new piping is going to be going on property acquired by the DOT. So we have to wait till they acquire that property. Then we can put in our piping and isolate the older piping that is either under the current road or next to the road. So the follow-up answer to your question is, during construction, when the road contractor has isolated those lanes for reconstruction, we will get in there, we will be given time to work in there to remove our piping while the contractor is working. So it's both yes and no. We will do a lot of the work prior to the start of the road construction, but some of it will have to happen during the road construction.
Very good. That sounds good. Thank you.
Any word from the county commissioners with regard to the Bass Pro Shop?
I have not had any firsthand discussions with county or Bass Pro Shop representatives as to whether or not, what the status of that sale or purchase of the property. It's my indication that it is still a green light, that they are working on it. that it's going to happen. I would hope that it does happen, but I don't have any, no one has reached out to us specifically in the last month or two, giving us an updated timeline, so I do not know.
Have you been approached by Racetrack for their supposed new location?
No, sir.
No, not yet. Okay.
Well, the whole thing's been extended for what, another year?
Here, yeah.
Well, the last I heard was this December, but somebody else, not from the county staff or Bass Pro, said it got extended again, so I don't know an answer.
Yeah, I thought it was a year. I thought we were still a year out.
A year out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
I can ask the county administrator to give me an update, and we can bring it back at the December meeting, if you want.
All right.
What's the scoop with the racetrack?
Moving across the street from the post office. Yeah.
Abandon their,
I don't know if, according from the Realtor, that if they go, I don't know if they're going to abandon it or not, being that the building is X amount of years old, and I guess because Wawa is going further down, they don't want to lose, what do you call it, their revenue. Market share, yeah. Yeah. Wawa is aggressive.
yeah.
If you haven't seen their operation, it's quite big.
That's a done deal or a proposal or,
I don't,
First I've heard of it.
yeah,
I don't know if it's 100%, but pretty close. Pretty close.
I see our storage facility is going up on 78. That's a different look when you drive by.
Yeah. Over by Fast Break?
That's only the first stage, if you will. They're going to be developing the other side of the road, my understanding, with a boat dealership and some other features.
convenience store too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same people?
That's my understanding, yes. Same group,
Oh,
maybe under different names, but it's going to be the same group, and they're going to have, like I say, a development on the north side of the road. They're tearing down Dr. Brown's house as we speak.
oh, okay.
So it's going to be, like I say, maybe certainly a boat dealership, maybe a store of some sort, dry goods store, something.
Certainly going to give it a really different feel.
Right. Item agenda 18, anything from the board?
Here, any more yes or no answers, I'm going to have to see if I can get his evaluation back.
Yes and no, sir.
Say no.
That is to be politically operative there.
Yeah, what are you running for?
If there's nothing else, I'm sorry this meeting went over. You have to forgive me. Meeting adjourned.
Write this one in pencil because we might have to go back and do it in ink, huh?